Frank Kent started in the automotive industry back in the early 1900s. And at that point, he actually was having to show people how to drive a car as opposed to drive a carriage. So Frank Kent actually started in the automotive industry at the onset of the automotive industry. And from there, he partnered with a guy in Fort Worth named Sanford Webb, and they had a Buick store named Webb Kent Buick. And then in 1940, he was awarded the Ford franchise. So from 1940 to 1952, we were a Ford distributor dealer in the state of Texas and Fort Worth, and actually I think we were top 2 in the country at the time. And then Cadillac, GM reached out to him and said, we'd like for you to be our distributor for Cadillac for Fort Worth and Western Texas. And so he took on that responsibility, and when he did, he relinquished the Ford franchise. And so we were Cadillac from 1953 until today. And we started downtown at Main and Lancaster, and we're there until the early 1980s. And then we moved from there out to the traffic circle, which is at 377 and 183 in West Fort Worth. And then in 2012, we moved the Cadillac store out to where it currently is, which is at 820 and Chapin Road in West Fort Worth off of Loop 820. And in that period of time, we've acquired the Hyundai store in 2013. And then down in Canton, we acquired the Buick, GMC, Chevy, and Cadillac point in 2016. So currently, we've got Cadillac, Hyundai, Buick, GMC, Chevrolet, and then Cadillac again in Canton.
Frank Kent was quite possibly one of the most amazing men that I've ever met. He was my great-grandfather. He was our founder, and he's our inspiration. He was a true gentleman. He believed in morals, values, and ethics before profit, which is what we are founded on. It's the core belief of our entire company. His handshake was his word, and so if he told you he was going to do something, he was going to do it.
Everything that he did always put the customer first. And you know, that's an easy statement to say, it's a tougher one to follow up on, but to solidify that fact, he was inducted in the Automotive Hall of Fame the same year as Mr. Honda. And so very few dealers have been awarded that opportunity to be into the Automotive Hall of Fame. And the reason that that happened was because of his focus on the customer. And so we have continued that same philosophy, is putting the customer first. And our guiding principles, morals, values, and ethics before profit. And that is what grounds us with everything we do within our organization. It is the litmus test to what we put everything up against before we make a decision on whether we're going to move forward with something or do a certain activity. And all that goes back to the foundation that Frank Kent laid back in the 1920s when he started in the automotive industry.
Frank Kent was super involved in every charity aspect of Fort Worth, community aspect, anything that had to do with Fort Worth he was involved in, and just had a true passion for the community that he called home.
I think there's a lot of things that make Frank Kent unique. One, we're still family owned. And in today's day and age with corporations coming in and buying up a majority of the dealerships, the fact that there's still a family behind that dealership that you're trusting your business with is a big deal.
The company was founded by our great-grandfather, and then our grandmother took it over, and then our mother took it over, and now Will and I are the 4th generation running the store, with actually the 5th generation came on board, so to speak, in 2010 when my nephew was born. And so we are prepping things for him. But typically in the automotive world, most dealerships don't last past a 2nd or 3rd generation. So we're very honored to still be carrying on the torch and hopefully taking the company to bigger and better heights.
So the fact that my sister and I are 4th generation, we understand the responsibility that that brings, we understand the honor that that bestows upon us, and the trust that the community's given us.
Frank Kent's been around for over 80 years. We've got a lot of employees that's been here 30 years and longer. It's a great place to work. The atmosphere at Frank Kent is not your typical dealership atmosphere. The employees have a great time working here. When the people come to work in the morning, they want to come to work here. They've got great leadership through Will and Corey. I've been here 21 years and I couldn't think of a better place to be.
So the selling philosophy at Frank Kent's a little different. And by that, I mean we take a long-term approach. in our selling process and the way that we go to market. There's definitely ways where we could check our morals, values, and ethics before profit at the door and sell more cars, but it's not a long-term solution. We have clients that have been with us for their third and fourth, fifth generation of people. And with that, they're bestowing a lot of trust on us. So there's a responsibility that we have to take care of those people and continue down the same road that Franken set up. So we put the customer first, and I know that other people are going to say that we put the customer first too, but when you've made it to 4 generations, that's kind of the proof in the pudding, that what we're doing is right and that what we're saying is correct. So no high pressure, no gimmicks. We do everything with 100% transparency. So we take the process and everything that we do from the eyes of the customer as opposed to the eyes of profit. Community to us is a huge deal. We're 4th generation. So this community is taking care of us for 4 and 5 generations. And our slogan now is community driven, locally different. So everything we do is with the eyes of the community. You know, we work with the Fort Worth Symphony to help maintain projects within schools so that music doesn't get lost, because that's typically one of the first things that gets cut when budget constraints come. We work with the Fort Worth ISD on their attendance programs, because we know that if you can get a kid to stay in school, the odds of him graduating are significantly higher. We also are starting a 501c3, and its main focus is to work on the Backpack for Kids program with the Tarrant Area Food Bank, because there are kids whose last meal of the day is the free meal they get Friday for lunch, and their next meal is the free meal they get Monday for breakfast at school. And so the Backpack for Kids program helps provide food to bridge the gap between the Friday and the Monday. So that's, it's a huge event we're involved in. And then we also work with the Fort Worth Zoo, because so many kids get excitement and joy out of the zoo, and it's also a great learning facility. It's a great incubator for thought and knowledge. And the zoo is one of the top 2 in the country. So anything we can do to help facilitate the zoo is awesome, because the zoo is privately funded, so it needs money. So we've tried to help as much as we can. Obviously we can't do everything, but they, like I said, have supported us, and we feel that it's partly our responsibility to help give back to the community in which we live. And my sister and I live in Fort Worth. We go to restaurants in Fort Worth. Everything we do is in Fort Worth. And so we want to make Fort Worth a better place, because Fort Worth has made us a better family, and that's our responsibility.
Whether it's your first time in or your 50th time in, everybody should be treated like you're part of the family, because you are. You've entrusted us with a very important aspect of your life, the safety of your vehicle, the purchase of a vehicle. These are huge things, and we treat them that way. Once you come to Franken, you're part of our family.
So the Cadillac store that we built in 2012, a lot of thought went into, what is the customer going to want? What is the customer of tomorrow going to want? And so when we built it, we wanted to do something different, and we put a wine store inside that Cadillac store.
We get a lot of questions about what is Cadillac Wines. Cadillac Wines is a unique wine experience that we built inside Franken Cadillac, and wine fit right in with who the Cadillac customer is. And it's simply a retail store. It's not a place to sit down and have a large glass of wine. It's just a fun place to come. We've got 2 very knowledgeable experts with Chester and Natasha, and they can literally help you pick any bottle of wine you want.
That houses over 300 wines ranging from whites through reds, California to France, different varietals. It's very boutique. If you're getting your car serviced, you can come in here, have a one-on-one conversation with either I or my partner Natasha, and we will help you, guide you through different wines. There are 8 wines to taste every day. They change weekly, and just kind of gives you the opportunity to experience something that you might not get to experience in your everyday dealership.
And that has garnered a ton of press from the USA Today, Washington Post, New York Times, Automotive News, and our customers are really liking that amenity, and is also pulling people into the dealership that wouldn't typically have come. So what we've kind of done is we've become the people in Fort Worth that are probably leading thought into what is an automobile dealership should represent and what it should be. And also we added a motorsports division, and we added in a vehicle customization piece, all listening to the customer's needs. We built a 10-acre standalone Cadillac facility that's one of the largest in the country, and it really helps put the brand in Fort Worth at a top level against all the other luxury manufacturers. And so we wanted to build a facility that was representative of our commitment to Cadillac and to the community of Fort Worth. So the Franken logo is a pretty unique logo in the sense that for the first 60 years, we didn't really have a logo or a company color. So my sister and I set out to kind of define ourselves as what is our logo, what do we stand for, and a way to take it and turn it into something more fun. So the logo that we came up with, the predominant part of it is a part that we call the bug, which is the circle with the FK. The reason there's a circle is that no one side is greater than any piece, and everything with our customers is circular. So we try and put ourselves in their world so that everything comes all the way together. There's 4 dash marks down through the middle. The reason there's 4 dash marks is we're the 4th generation in the automotive industry for the Franken family, so that's why there's 4 dash marks. The letters are lowercase. Most logos, they're uppercase. We went with lowercase because our customer is greater than we are. And then if you look at the logo, it's tilted just a little bit to the left, and the reason that we did that is because we're laid back and we're just a little bit different, we feel, than the rest of the other car dealerships. And on top of it, our corporate color is now purple, and the reason for that is we have alumni that went to TCU, myself included, that graduated. And when you see the purple, we want them to think of TCU first, Fort Worth second, and Franken third.
Our animated character is one of the funnest things that has come around in the advertising and marketing that we've done in a long time. He's animated, he's fun, you've seen him on the commercials, we've taken him to Mayfest, and he just really brings life to our logo, and it's kind of a fun way and a family way for us to take Franken out to the people and just to bring a different element to our brand, because typically brands are so static. And he's fun and he does different things, he flips, he flops.
You know, he's got the big fluffy hands, and his shoes are looking like little Chuck Taylor Converses with the FK bugs on the side, and he gets into a lot of mischief. So with him, it's trying to control him and keep him relegated into the environment he's in and not getting too much trouble.
Franken Country is the newest addition to the Franken family. It's located in Corsicana, Texas, so about an hour and 15 minutes away from here. It has Chevy, Cadillac, GMC, and Buick all under one roof, located just off I-45.
So the reason that we decided to go after a Buick, GMC, Chevy, and Cadillac store was that we had a lot of clients that were asking us to fulfill certain needs that we couldn't. I mean, when you're in Texas and you don't have trucks, it's a really tough request. And so to fill that, we went and found a store in Corsicana that had the Buick, GMC, Chevy, and Cadillac lines. And now it's allowing us to take care of all of our clients' needs, top to bottom. So whether they need a commercial vehicle, they need a bigger SUV for the family, they need a smaller SUV, whatever they need between Hyundai, Cadillac, Buick, GMC, and Chevrolet, we can handle all their needs at a one-stop shop. That's why people trust us.
But the beautiful thing about Franken Country is it already had the morals, values, and ethics built into it, which is what we looked for when we were purchasing that store. And it has the same core beliefs that we believe in, and the people are absolutely amazing. It's just a warm, small town, friendly atmosphere. You go in, everybody knows each other, and it's just a great place to be.
We started Franken Motorsports in 2015, and the reason that we started it was to address the customer's needs for taking the CTSVs and actually adding additional horsepower to these already incredible vehicles.
We specialize in performance, fabrication, anywhere from bolt-ons to custom turbo kits, intercoolers, exhaust, intakes. We do tuning, engine transmission calibrations, full dyno testing, street tuning. We build and test products. We build them from complete scratch, take them out, test them, real-world results, give the results to the customer. You can come in here and you get anywhere from a paint job to a bumper painted, to an intake fabricated, to headers and exhaust installed.
We noticed that our customers were going outside of the Cadillac family to get this work done, and then there was no one to stand behind the work. So a couple of our younger employees brought the concept to us, and we discussed it, talked about it, and we actually went in full speed ahead and put in an all-wheel drive dyno and have 2 employees that are fully dedicated to working on these CTSVs and customizing them.
The people that need motorsports are the people that have had a hard time trusting other shops, other dealerships. We provide the customer satisfaction, the experience, the guarantee that you're going to get your car treated as if it was our own. Our advantages for someone coming to motorsports. They know the dealership has been here a long time. They know we're going to be here. We're not going anywhere. We'll be here in a year, 2 years, 10 years to back up the work we did. We give loan cars, which you're not going to get a performance shop that gives loan cars. You're not going to get a performance shop that does details on a car. You're just not going to get that at a performance shop.
And what it's doing is it's bringing that Cadillac culture actually closer together and knitting it together inside of a Cadillac dealership, as opposed to letting that relationship exist outside of the Cadillac family. In 2015, we decided to put in a family office. And within that family office, what we wanted to do was centralize accounting and centralize our BDC, and for the first time ever, put my sister and I in the same office. And so the reason we did that is we felt that it gave us a platform to grow from, and it gave us greater control of the BDC process, which is really what is our guiding light as we go forward. We think that's our big competitive advantage. So having the BDC centralized and having accounting centralized, and my sister and I, allows us greater flexibility, makes us more nimble, and gives us greater comfort in the fact that we can go out and grow the brand outside of Fort Worth.
From Cadillac Wines, we learned how important wine is and how much people like wine. And then we met with a group of millennials and found out that we wanted to create a really unique experience.
In that research, we were trying to figure out how can we relate to millennials without physically trying to sell them something. And so the result of their project and time was that we needed to do a boutique showroom in one of the trendier areas of Fort Worth.
And we found a wonderful spot on Magnolia, and there we built Canton Company Wines. So you go into Canton Company Wines, it's a full-service wine bar, and you have a great bottle of wine or just a glass of wine. We've got over 200 by the glass, and you just sit and enjoy.
And what is considered by all the voters in Fort Worth and different magazines is one of the top wine bars in Fort Worth, one of the best patios. And in there is a Cadillac on a lift and there's a Cadillac outside on the grass. And no one there knows anything about the cars, but what it's doing is it's allowing millennials to start that journey in a non-threatening way.
Canton Company had such amazing success on Magnolia that we ran into some good, bad problems. Good being that everybody wanted to be there, bad that everybody wanted to book parties there. And so we became the place where people wanted to book, but then our regulars couldn't come in because we were constantly being booked for parties. So we opened an event space called The Space, kind of behind and caddy corner to Canton Company, and that just opened in March. And so it's a great venue, completely blank canvas. Now we can move all of our events, and Canton Company can remain open for guests and walk-up guests. And so we've just got a lot happening on Magnolia.